According to recent polls, the vast majority of American voters now support universal background checks before people can buy guns. But why are background checks done on all sales? The Brady Act requires federally licensed firearm dealers to perform background checks on prospective gun purchasers. They use a database called the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. But the background check requirement doesn't apply to people who sell their guns from their private collections, often at gun shows. How many guns are sold by unlicensed parties? According to data cited by President Obama, about 40% of sales happen without background checks. But critics say that number is inflated and flawed because it comes from a small sample survey nearly 2 decades ago. More recent and reliable statistics aren't available. Why not just close the so-called gun show loophole? That's what President Obama wants Congress to do. However, most of the estimated 300 million private guns in America aren't registered in any way, and unless every civilian firearm has government documentation, tracking private sales would be next to impossible. Those who support background checks on all gun sales argue that sellers, particularly at gun shows, would be deterred from doing off-the-book transactions. So if gun shows start doing background checks, it might help prevent some criminals from buying guns, but it's unlikely to squash the black market. Would universal background checks help the police track guns found at crime scenes? Not unless the law changes. The police currently have no central database they can use. That's because the Brady bill expressly prohibits the creation of a gun registry that's based on gun background checks. Are all states using the background check system? Yes, remember it's federal law that licensed dealers do checks, yet some states are using it more than others. Take Kentucky. In 2012, it did more background checks than any other state, over 2.5 million. California was second with 1.3 million checks. Does that mean people in Kentucky are buying more guns than anywhere else? Not necessarily. Kentucky's numbers are probably inflated because it conducts routine checks on anyone holding a concealed weapons permit. What do the numbers tell us about how many guns are being sold? We know that in 2002, the states did 8.5 million background checks. That number more than doubled in the last decade to nearly 20 million in 2012. But we don't know how many guns are being sold in America because it's not a one background check per purchase system. So there's a lot we still don't know about who's buying guns and how effective background checks really are. That's the short answer.